Something is coming. You can feel it, can't you?
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. How, 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 how. How, 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 how.
Hi, my name's Daryl Long. I'm the producer on Far Cry 5. I have here a list of questions submitted by the Turkish PlayStation community. So, hello Turkey. The first question I have here is, in Far Cry 3, 4, and Primal, we played stories between a protagonist character and a villain. In the Far Cry 5 trailers, we saw that the game focused on various characters, their psychologies, and their attributes against the villain. What is the reason of this change? What is the role of these characters inside the Far Cry 5 main story? That's a great question. I believe you're talking about Mary May, Nick Rye, Pastor Jerome. These are all characters that we featured in our announcement and at E3. These are what we call members of the resistance community. These are people that are fighting back against the cult and trying to inspire the people of Hope County to join with them, to rise up against the cult and ultimately turn the cult over. So the difference with the previous Far Cry games of Far Cry 5 related to this is we wanted to create a structure in the game where players are free to go in any direction and attack the cult where they want, when they want, however they want, and really choose to build their own story within our world. So we created a world where there's many characters, real, believable characters, some that are very genuine, some that are very earnest in their beliefs, others that are more wacky or crazy, and others that just don't care. They don't care about the cult. They don't care about what's going on. They have their own agenda and they're doing their own thing in the world. And we want the players to be able to choose which characters do they engage in, which characters do they interact with more, which types of quests do they like to do. These are all choices the players will get to make in Far Cry 5. And that's why the increased role of many characters in the story. The next question I have is, what do you think about a futuristic Far Cry main game future? Except for Blood Dragon? Yes. What do I think? I think it's a great idea. I think we would love to do a futuristic Far Cry. Far Cry is about creating a frontier, a place where the rules don't quite apply, where almost anything could happen, where we get to live an experience that hopefully none of us will have to in our lifetimes, but really puts us in a new environment that challenges us and forces us to really examine ourselves. To me, we proved with Primal that we can do that in the past, that we can absolutely set a Far Cry game that's totally believable in the past. I think we can also do that in the future. With the right setting, the right context, the right kind of future that suits a Far Cry game and the Far Cry experience, we could absolutely go to the future. I think it's a great idea. The next question is, what is the most difficult stage in designing and development process in Far Cry 5? It's been a long process. We've been working on this game for 3 years and more. There's been a lot of times when, it was a roller coaster. We weren't sure what was going to work, what wasn't going to work, and we kept going throughout all this, and there was a few key moments. One of them that's really important for me, and I think for the final result of the game, was understanding the structure of our story. The game right now, the player chooses where he or she goes, which characters to talk to, and which events to engage in. So a great example is, at the beginning of the game, you can choose to go to Fall's End. You can choose to go to this town, liberate it, rescue the people that live there. Or you can choose not to. You can play the entire game never going to Fall's End. The characters in the world need to be aware of your actions, as well as what you haven't done. So as you're walking around the world, if you're in the Holland Valley, which is John Seed's region of the game, people will say to you, hey, maybe you should go to Fall's End. That's very important for the Resistance. You should go check it out. They'll encourage you to go there. Once you have gone there afterwards, they know that as well. And they'll say, hey, great job in Fall's End. You've really helped build the Resistance. And the characters also know, when you've met John Seed, they know that. They know you've been marked by him. And this continues throughout the entire game. As developers, we needed to know which stories the player is engaged in, which ones they haven't, and all the game needs to react to that. So that, we call it the narrative matrix. And it was hugely complex to write, and our writing team did an amazing job pulling that together. It's one of the biggest breakthroughs of the game. The next question is, Are we going to have any honey badgers in the game? The greatest villain of Far Cry 4. The honey badger was a great character even, you could say, and we wanted to do something special like that as well. So in Far Cry 5, we've introduced the skunk, a good American animal. In the open world, you'll be running around, you'll be doing your thing and having a great time. Suddenly, a skunk will come out, and it'll spray a stink across the whole area, and even the cultists will react to it, and they'll start running away from the smell. And it can create really hilarious moments with your guns for hire who react to it as well. The other really great one is the turkey. You know, turkeys are big birds, and when they get angry, they can attack. I saw an example just a few days ago where a player was fighting against a cult VIP, you know, a really powerful enemy in the cult. And out of nowhere, a turkey ran up and attacked the cultist and killed him. So yes, you're gonna have experiences in the world just like with the honey badger, but even more. We've got great animals in Far Cry 5. All right, one last question. Can you tell us something about the collectibles in Far Cry 5, you know, for us 100%ers? Yes, we are absolutely thinking about the completionists when we're building this game. One thing that we saw when we actually went to Montana was that there are people who live there that are preparing for a disaster. You know, whether it's a flood or it's the end of the world, they're making sure that they have food and water prepared, they have an underground bunker, and they have these things ready. We wanted to put that in the game as well. So throughout the game, you're going to find what we call prepper stashes. And each one is a little bit of a puzzle. You need to figure out how the prepper has protected his store. You need to get in, and when you do, you can loot it. And you can take the things that the person has put there. So that's just one example of the kinds of collectibles you'll find in Far Cry 5. So thanks very much. Far Cry 5 is coming out March 27, 2018, and we know you're going to love it.
PlayStation, oyuncular için.